Just a few years ago, when the rest of the country was experiencing a real estate boom, the economy in North Dakota was flat. People were just getting by. But now, thanks to the discovery of oil, the town is now changing. It is booming, and people there say it's about time. Stanley, North Dakota, a farming town of about 1,000 near the Canadian border.
Drive by Stanley, you'll blink, you'll miss it.
It's hard to miss what's happening here now.
I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of wells.
Everywhere we went, the talk was about black gold, oil that's sitting nearly 2 miles beneath the surface.
The continual amount of oil we find in North Dakota is as much as 3 times as much as in Texas.
It's called the Bakken Formation, a vast 200,000 square mile area from North Dakota to Montana and into Canada, rich with more than 3 billion barrels of crude. It was discovered in the 50s, but it wasn't until recently that the oil companies had the technology to drill both vertically and horizontally to get it out of the ground.
Oil field has blessed us. We're making lots of money.
Are you in the 6-figure range, or?
Yes.
Hauling water.
Hauling water. Don't get no better.
That promise of money is bringing hundreds of workers in. The only housing crisis here is that you can't find any.
There's one hotel in town and that's full.
What about an RV park?
RV parks are full.
Stanley's mayor is still reeling from the boom that started just 8 months ago and the growing pains the town is experiencing. They need new roads, a new water and sewer system, but Stanley's share of oil tax revenues is under $300,000. The state gets the bulk of it.
We definitely need a library. With the amount of wealth being generated here, I would think if any place should deserve one, it would be here.
Just about everyone who owns mineral rights here is hoping a well and royalty checks will soon follow.
I'm fairly certain that if they drilled a well here, they'd have oil. You know,
right where we're standing.
Yes.
So how many potential millionaires did we run into? 24-year-old Aaron Skarsgård now has a well on his farm.
My family has 3. And there's more and more getting staked out every day.
How many mineral acres do you have?
Enough that it would make me wealthy. You know, my family wealthy, I should say.
48 years ago, you were working on these rigs. Now it looks like there's going to be one on your property. Could you have ever imagined that?
No, not in a lifetime.
Robert Western is 74. He took us to his farm and pointed out a stake right in the middle of his canola field. A sweet sight for a man who grew up during the Depression.
We certainly won't have money problems in the future.
Do you wish it would have happened sooner?
It would have been nice.
Better late than never for a farmer who could become an oil baron in a brand new boomtown. The mayor of Stanley says the town desperately needs doctors, nurses, plumbers, and electricians, and that just about anyone who works hard and can pass a drug test will have no problem finding work in Stanley. The only problem, though, is that the nearest housing is about an hour away. Melissa?
Though, of course, a lot of people are logging onto CNN.com Live today during their lunch hours, during a break, saying, okay, maybe I could try that kind of a job out. So the mayor's saying, you know what, they need all kinds of workers, but how easy is it to actually connect with the oil companies?
Well, here's the funny thing. On the way in, we actually met a man who was from Phoenix and he was heading to Stanley on vacation. When we saw him a few days later, he said he was offered a job. So he's actually thinking about leaving Phoenix and moving into North Dakota. And then on the way out, when we were flying out, we met a fellow on the plane who's a personal trainer with no experience in oil. He told us that he was offered a job within a day and his starting salary would be $70,000. Again, though, you have to work hard and you have to be willing to put up with those winters that hit 40 to 60 below zero.
Wow, okay. Well, what about the farmers who have this newfound wealth? Did you meet any that say, you know what, we're packing our bags and moving?
That was the interesting thing, Melissa. We talked to these people who homesteaded that property years ago, and they're part of that land. I mean, the farm is everything to them. They say they have no intention on leaving, and they're not really even thinking about changing their lives.
It's a gift. That's what we look at. Even no matter what the amount is, it is a gift.
And did you ever think that this land would give you that kind of a gift?
No.
No, I think
the land.
I think our ancestors come here. The farm I live on is 100 years old right now, this year. my grandfather come here in 1908. My dad was raised there. He was come here, he was 4 years old. You know, they went through the oil strike in the 50s to the west here in Tioga. You know, and they always had the hope, but it never come. It never come. In the 80s, there was some strikes around here, you know, but it never come. So, I mean, they lived their life and passed on. You know, I think of the old people, you know, that, you know, it was a tough life, you know, but it was a rewarding life. It's a good life. It's a slow-paced life here, more slow-paced life. But it's kind of sad for them because they went through life and never got it. Now it's coming, you know, now, no, I never thought it would come. And I graduated from high school 40-some years ago, and in that time, in 40 years, there was a lot of oil wells drilled in an area south of me, 25 miles to the north and around our area, and not a one of them ever produced. And now in the last 2 to 3 years, they've drilled quite a few wells. They brought everyone in.
So what do the Sorensens hope to do if they do strike oil? They say their big plan is to take their grandkids to Disneyland, but they say it's not going to change their lives.
It's wonderful to see that people are trying to stay grounded despite all this. You know, Thelma, one other question. What about concerns about the environment?
Well, you know, as we were up there and we were talking to some of these folks, we asked them about that, and they say there is a concern that they're going to lose some of that farmland to the oil companies, that suddenly the landscape will be dotted with pumps, and that's the reality that's going to come to Stanley when the drilling really hits a stride. It's already getting there now. But the people say that, you know, this is an area that has been economically depressed for so long, and they're really looking forward to this, that this is the one way for them to be able to provide for their families and to have just a little bit of a breather.